of the internet. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ronnie Jo, and I'm a registered dietitian who does things here on the YouTube. How are you doing today? Doing good. Lots of orange today. Got this 60s inspired makeup look. Got my UT shirt on and got my orange cup of coffee. This video is going to be about gluten-free diets, as you probably could have guessed. I am sorry if you hear construction in the background. They decided to start construction at the same time I started recording this video. And they are paving. As always, I need to throw the disclaimer in here because I don't know you, and you should probably not take advice from people on the internet that don't know you. And this video is for educational entertainment purposes only. Enjoy the beeping of the truck. Okay, so do you remember like 10 years ago when absolutely everybody hated gluten? If you're a millennial, then you probably remember, because I'm a millennial and I fell victim to this gluten-free diet nonsense. I thought gluten was going to kill me. and I don't have any medical reasons why it would. And so I kind of wanted to dive into why was this so popular. I'm going to talk about what gluten is, obviously medically, why you should not be eating gluten, and some pros and cons of going gluten-free, and of course my final thoughts on the gluten-free diet trend. So first, gluten is the protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. It's a key ingredient, a key component of bread, and it is almost the only protein found in bread. And so medically, the reason you should not eat gluten would be that you have celiac disease or some sort of gluten sensitivity. With celiac disease, about 1% of the population has this, and gluten itself actually damages the small intestine and attacks it and causes you to not be able to absorb some very important nutrients. And when you eliminate gluten from your diet, when you have celiac disease, your gut is able to heal and you are able to absorb nutrients properly. There are some, really not great symptoms when you have celiac disease and you eat gluten. You can have diarrhea, you can have constipation, you can have bloating, and lots of pain. And so medically, celiac disease patients should really not consume gluten. So if medically celiac disease patients should not be eating gluten, why did it become so popular in mainstream media to not eat gluten? And this kind of stems from two diets that, one I had talked about previously, the Atkins diet and the PALEO diet. So in the 80s and 90s, both these diets became very popular, and the Atkins diet demonized carbohydrates so that you should not eat any carbohydrates, and the PALEO diet said that we should eat everything that our ancestors ate, and they kind of claimed that this didn't include gluten. And so those two diets being so mainstream kind of were the base for the gluten-free trend that we saw about 10 years ago. And so only 1% of people have celiac disease, but it was reported in 2016 that 2% of people follow a gluten-free diet because of the health claims that don't have a lot of research or scientific evidence to back up. And so people who do a gluten-free diet tend to be women, as women tend to be the main target of a lot of weight loss ads. And back in 2016, it was reported that mostly women between the ages of 20 and 39, so millennial women, would be doing a gluten-free diet. It was also very popularized by a lot of celebrities like Kim K and, my best friend Gwyneth Paltrow. And so For weight loss itself, there's not a lot of evidence to show that the gluten-free diet leads to weight loss. Like there isn't a lot of evidence to show that the gluten-free diet improves your health. When it comes to weight loss, so when you don't eat gluten, you usually are eating less carbohydrates in general. And so you're probably eating less calories overall as well, and that will create a calorie deficit and will create a weight loss. And a lot of processed foods tend to have added gluten, so you're probably going to be eating less processed foods, which would cause you to eat less, which would cause a calorie deficit as well, because to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. I will say that until I die. And surprisingly, with the gluten-free diet, some people report weight gain because when you're eating gluten-free products that would otherwise contain gluten, they usually have a higher fat and higher sugar content as well as a lower fiber content. And so you're going to overall feel less satisfied, and you're probably going to eat more because you're not as satisfied with the meal, and that will create a calorie surplus, which would cause the weight gain. And like when it comes to like overall health and wellness, lots of cultures include gluten in their diet, and even the most medically and scientifically backed diet for health, the Mediterranean diet, supports eating wheat, barley, and rye and gluten-containing products. So like my final thoughts, of course, are that when we demonize food, we just create more negative effects with our relationship with food. And so I think that we are straying away from going gluten-free, but with the demonization of carbohydrates, more recently with the ketogenic diet, like I talked about last week, I think that it's going to be a long time before we completely recover from the traumatic events of everybody telling us that we should be gluten-free. It's also very expensive to eat gluten-free. So if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you like what I'm doing here. Please stay safe and stay healthy. Goodbye.